Hello. Okay, so I was looking up different kinds of puzzles and things like that, and I came across a magazine that had the same face on the front and the back, and it was Kurt Cobain. So I was like, "Ooh, look at that!" And because I like to read about Nirvana and stuff like that. But anyways, um, I think they feed you with interests. Anyways, there was a thing where all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's like one of those picture games where it's like, what's different about these pictures? So then I was looking at it for a while and I was like, nah, there's nothing different about either one of these pictures. And then I was like flipping through and I noticed that you could, no, I like flipping through and then I like held it up and you could see through the page, right? And then it was kind of like the art on the back of the cover was making it look like he had veins in his face. And so then I was like, oh, look through the window, like a picture window. And then I started looking at the pictures in Prince Caspian, and I found on page 13, at first I found just one poem. And then I realized, oh, you can fold it like a fan or bread, like when you're folding phyllo dough and stuff like that. And the first one I found was pretty cool. In here, daisies, secret, quiet, stepped out, straightened. And what happened was I was like, oh, I just taken pictures at Care Paravel, and which I found on the end of the Columbia at the Battery 247, which used to be Battery O'Flynn. Um, and the picture of this door that I took that was pretty cool and all rustic looking, it had little daisies in the corner on the far left. And I was like, huh. And then I was thinking about the folding it over. And then I found the other three poems. And it actually applies to this kind of logic game that I found with Dandywide Brandywine. I found the Dandywide when I went to the Mary Hill Museum and I saw the woman dancing like a butterfly. And it reminded me of my sister and I dancing in the living room, like spinning around in circles and clapping our arms and laughing out loud, Dandywide, ah, ha, 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 ha. And so then I searched on Google Dandywide and Mary Hill Museum, and it pulled up Brandywine Museum, and that's in Pennsylvania. And so then it became like a word game where it was actually, instead of two words, it's four words. Dandywide, everything's gravy. Dandywine, you're out of for here cups, but I'm glad that's an option. Brandywide, a little bit goes a long way to clean your supplies. And also, I think you can pickle things with it, so it'll last longer. And then Brandywine is like a battle that Washington fought during the Revolutionary War. So it's like you're drinking the wrong water or your toe up, like everything's like crazy right now. So the Dandywine version of this is there were, and ivy, and place, and into the middle of it, their backs. Kind of like everyone turned their backs on each other from fear and misinformation. Then the next one I find is kind of like flipped around. Or maybe not. I think it's kind of both sometimes. It's kind of like the logic thing. But I would say this one's Brandywine. No trees, gray walls, rather sad. Of it, glad. Move there. And then the next one is kind of like a rhyming game, kind of like the Cockney rhyming slang. Only it was and two limbs. So then I was like, huh. Odin, Awas, and two limbs. And there's only two runes that have two limbs, basically, and that's Cano and Langus, which is like the sun and water. And then Odin is the unknown, and Awas is defense. So that one I think is Brandywide. kind of like from sea to shining sea, because that's wide. And also, oh, I was also thinking about the sea itself as like the amber waves of green. And let's see. I think they switch it around so that it's telling you it's like 1, 2, 4, 3. And that's another part of the code. I just haven't quite dug into that yet because I'm having a real big issue with my neighbors waking me up all the time. They actually like slam their doors as hard as they possibly can. And I'm like, what are you, like some kind of crazy French anarchist throwing like a fit in the hallway? Like, I'm serious. And so it's kind of slow going. Much slower than I thought. And then I was thinking, I think that Dad's also matches up with this because his name is kind of like my middle name but different. So I've been hearing people mutter at me like, how come you didn't do this sooner? And I'm thinking that's the kind of Nazi bandwagoning thing that doesn't get anything done, right? So anyways, I've been looking for other poems and things like that on sometime when I'm like, got the brain power there, right? And then, oh, this one, it says on page 19, there's a picture, and it's where Susan is just finding the chess piece at Kirpirville, and it says on the other side by their shoes, look at the very stones. And then if you use if you drop the S and the N, it says look at the very toes. So there's a key inside of the shoes of the kids, which it is. It's like it says drop the S and the N. So there's another example. And let's see. I think I might have mentioned before that all of this stuff has been breached. So what I'm thinking is there's the people that know what it is using it. And then there's the people who kind of know what it is, kind of like a duffel pud using it. And sometimes that's okay, but sometimes they think that they have like a, what is that, bad case of the spostas, and you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that. But they're really, I think those are misinformed individuals, and sometimes they might be sabotaging it because they don't like 13s, which is associated with the Templar. And what happens is they just try to make them look bad because they want all the presents and like they don't want to be nice to Santa or whatever. And so you can find these. I was like, a computer actually during the war did find a bunch of them. There's like the coding wars during that time. So I'm sure a bunch of people actually have a program to find them. And then I was also thinking it's a possibility that there is, what was it called? A seer stone that you can lay down on it and it'll point out to 3 different words to scale or something like that, and give you another trine or 4 words. And so that's pretty interesting too. So I'll be finding more out soon enough, I suppose, and I'll make another video. All right, have a good day.